Good morning, guys, or good afternoon, depending on when you're watching this. Today, I'm going to walk you through this Unit 1 Survival Notebook. So this is a very large notebook that we're going to be working throughout the 9 weeks. Similar to your RPS activity, you're going to be submitting this, and then you're going to be getting it returned to you so that you can continue to work on it. So when you look at your screen here, move myself out of the way here. So when you look at the screen here, you'll see that it says Unit 1 Survival. I'd like you to type your name right here. That's just a text box. So you can click on that, delete that where it says add your name, and type your first and last name. On the side, you'll notice that you have tabs again. These tabs are listing titles of texts this time. So we're not doing necessarily by week, but by the title of the text that we're going to be reading. Over here on the left, you have what does it take to survive? That's our essential question that we'll think about as we read. So here are some directions for the notebook. It just says as we work through Unit 1, you'll complete assignments in the notebook. The tabs indicate those reading passages or texts. You'll be assigned different passages throughout the 9 weeks. You'll need to make sure you're checking your agenda in the stream so that you know what you're supposed to be reading. Today, we're just going to focus on the cost of survival. So this is a launch text. It is just going to give us a little bit of information about survival and get us to start thinking that direction. So a couple things to note. Anytime you have this dark gray box, that's a short, quick writing assignment. Okay, so as you're reading, it's going to ask you to fill in some information in different sections here. Okay, excuse me. So what this first quick write says is before reading the text, what do you think the cost of survival will be about? So I want you to think for just a second about the title of that text, the cost of survival, and I want you to type in this text box what you think that's going to be about. There is no right or wrong answer. Okay, it's just you predicting what this text will be about. I don't expect you to get it right on the head. So do your best. Just make a prediction about what this text might be about. And then you'll see down here, you've got a video and you've got some directions. So it says read the launch text, the cost of survival, and follow along with Mrs. Stolz to complete these activities. So where it says here, that's a link. So if you click on that link, that's going to open up the text. Okay, so if you go ahead and click on this text, it'll open up in a new tab. So what opens up here is exactly what's in the workbook. If you got a workbook from me, remember to email me if you do want one of those. And it's the same thing that I have in my textbook. You can also go to Pearson and you can find this online, but that just seems like a waste of time when you have it right here. Okay, so as you see, this is a really, really short text. It's only going to take a couple minutes to read, but you've got this text. Now, if you like to listen or have text read to you, back on your slide right here, that's what this is. This is just me reading that text to you. Okay, so after you've answered this question, what you think this text will be about, I want you to listen to or read the text. Okay, and then you're going to, again, excuse me, and then you're going to come over here. So after reading this text, go ahead and pause your video if you haven't done that yet. Read the text, and then we'll come over here. So it says, what is the claim that this article is trying to argue? So as you can see, we've already got some information in here, but it says if you put yourself in danger, you should have to pay for your rescue. So this article definitely talks a lot about the cost, the actual monetary cost of rescuing people, talks about the fact that a lot of people are involved in these rescues, and it talks about the fact that someone has to pay for them. Okay, so that's what we're doing here. You're going to put down the claim of the article. You don't have to have it in the exact same words that I have it in, but that's along the correct lines. The next task that you have is, it says click the link here to access the Google Jamboard. On the Jamboard, add a sticky note below the pointer on the left side toolbar with one thing you would need to survive in the wild. Be sure to include your first and last name on your sticky note. So that you see what this looks like, again, when you click on that link, it'll take you to this Google Jamboard. A Google Jamboard is just kind of like a bulletin board where we can add some different information. So when you open this Jamboard, it's taking its sweet time. But once this pops up, you'll see that you just have a white background here. It says survival. So what you need to do is come to the left toolbar right here under the pointer where it says sticky note. Add a sticky note. You can change the color. It doesn't matter, whatever color you want that to be. But type one thing on the sticky note that you would need to survive. So I don't know if you've noticed, but in most of the videos, I'm wearing glasses. So if I was going to survive in the wilderness, if I was going to survive in some kind of post-apocalyptic scenario, I have to be able to see, which I can't do without my glasses. So I'm going to say glasses or contacts because I need those. So when I hit save, it's going to pop up my sticky note right here on the Jamboard. Now, every time somebody adds a sticky note, it's going to go to the same exact place. So what you can do is you can move it so that it's somewhere else on that Jamboard. Now, I didn't follow my own directions because one thing that I have to do is add my name. Okay, so make sure as you type your sticky note that you type in your first and last name so that I can give you credit for that. Okay, so Mrs. Stoltz needs glasses or contacts. Okay, that's all you need to do for the Jamboard is just add one post-it with some information, just one thing that you would need to survive in the wilderness. Okay, so then we are back to our Google Slide notebook. So you have this red box down at the bottom that says link to evidence logs. We need to actually make this a link so that you have your evidence logs available to you in this notebook. So what I want you to do is go to Google Classroom. Hopefully yours loads a little faster than mine. You're going to open this evidence log that's in the same assignment here as your unit notebook. When you open that evidence log, you're going to click up here in the web address, and you're going to copy that. So you can do that by on your Chromebook using like a 2-finger tap and then choosing copy, or you can hit Control and C, and that will also copy. So once you have this copied, Control C or a 2-finger click and select copy from the menu. We're going to come back to our Google Slide. We're going to click on our red box. Once we have that little blue around it, we're going to go to Insert. We're going to scroll down to where it says Link. Click on that. And then we'll paste that link that we just copied. So either Control V, or you can use the 2-finger tap again and hit paste, and then you'll hit apply. When you do that, it now shows that you have your evidence log linked right there. So anytime we need to use our evidence log, you'll have it in this document. You can always get to it from classwork, but if you have it in this document, which is where you're going to be accessing it anyway, it'll just make your life a little easier. Okay, so we now have that linked, and now we want to go to our evidence log. So you should already have that open in a tab now. Also, feel free to rewind this video, play back a little bit so you can follow those steps to make sure that you get that linked. Okay, so what we want to do with this evidence log, first of all, if you scroll down, you'll see that you have quite a few evidence logs on here. I think there are 9 actually. And what you're going to do is fill these out as we read. Okay, so with each text that we read, you're going to fill out an evidence log. Let me scroll back up here to where I need to be. So we need to go back up to evidence log number 1. And I've got this one filled out. Actually, the example is what we want. So we'll talk about this, and then you're going to fill yours out mostly the same way. Okay, so the reason we're doing this evidence log or these evidence logs is so that when we get to our performance-based assessment, which is going to be an essay, once we get to that, you'll have the information that you need to type up your essay right here already for you. Okay, so as we're reading, continue to think about this question. Should people in life or death situations be held accountable for their actions? So should you be held responsible for what you do while you're in a life or death situation? Okay, what you're going to do here is decide which way you want to argue this. Okay, there's not a right or wrong answer, and that's what makes this a good argumentative question. Okay, so you have to decide. People in life or death situations should be held accountable and responsible for their actions, or people in life or death situations should not be held accountable for their actions. Okay, so There, like I said, there's no right answer. It's whichever way you want to argue this. Okay. Once you know which side you're going to argue, you're going to highlight that. So I have highlighted the top one. That's what I'm going to argue if I'm writing this paper. Okay. You do not have to highlight the same one I highlighted. It's up to you, whatever you want to argue. Okay. They should be held accountable. They should not be held accountable. Now that we have a claim highlighted, we need to come down here to this little chart. So in your chart, make sure, one, that the title of the text matches the title of the text that you've read. We did just read The Cost of Survival. So now we want to come down here. Does this support a claim or a counterclaim? My claim was that people should be held accountable for their actions. And in this text, it talks about the fact that they should. So this supports my claim. If you highlighted the bottom claim, the not claim, then all you have to do right here is say it supports the counterclaim. So you have that word right there. Okay, so it supports the counterclaim. Now, we need to come up with some reasons why this supports either the claim or the counterclaim. And no matter what you selected up above, either one of these, our reasons and our evidence here, it's going to be the same. So you can copy exactly what I have here in my evidence log. Okay, so feel free to pause the video and do so. So we have to come up with 2 reasons why this text supports my claim. And one reason is because it talks about how expensive rescues are. And it also talks about how dangerous it is for the people, the many people who are involved in the rescue. Okay, so those are 2 reasons why this supports my counterclaim. Now what we need to do is tie our reasons back to a part of the text. So reason 1, how expensive the rescues are. It talks about here, we know it's expensive because it talks about that family who was stranded at sea who had to be rescued. Okay? So that's where I'm going to go back and find some evidence. For how dangerous it is for the many people involved, this one talked about the fact that sometimes rescuers die on rescue missions and it takes a lot of people to complete the rescues. So I'm going to go back and look for that information. The last thing I have to do is find evidence to support my reasons. So I have to pull evidence directly from the text. So here we can actually do some copy and pasting. So when I want to look at that family who was stranded at sea and we want to talk about how expensive it was, I'm going to go back to my text. Excuse me. I'm going to find where it said that it was expensive. So down here in paragraph 3, it says the rescue of the family stranded at sea cost $663,000. That figure does not include pay for the rescue workers. So I can highlight that. I can hit Control C like we did before. That'll copy it. I can go back to my evidence log. I can just click right here and click Control V and it'll paste that information right here. So when I go to write my essay in, a few weeks, I'll have evidence already pulled from my text and I'll be able to go ahead and start that essay and know that I can support my answer. So then we're going to do the same thing for these last 2. How dangerous and how many people are involved. So I'm going to scroll down. So one, when they got that caver safely to the surface, who was 4,000 feet underground, yikes, that took 728 people. So that took a lot of people for that rescue effort. I can go ahead and copy, Control C, go back to my evidence log, and Control V, paste that right there, and that's a piece of evidence. Then I need to find information about the ones who die while they're trying to complete these rescue missions. So down here at the end, many rescue workers have lost their own lives saving others. So I can highlight that, Control C, back to my evidence log, Control V, and now I have this finished.